Hey guys, today we are going to be making an origami heart since it is almost Valentine's Day. So this is one of the easiest origamis that you can make, so it's a good kind of intro into that. So like origami, like anything else, you start with the easier stuff and the more you practice the better you get at it. So I'll walk you guys through making one of these, and the first thing you're going to need a square of paper. I use a glue stick while I'm working on mine. I like them to lay nice and flat, but if you want it to be a puffier, more 3D heart, you don't have to use the glue stick. So, if, like most paper that you get, it is not square, you have to start by making your square. So, this is a piece, it has two different colors on it. It makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see that. You can do this with a piece of copier paper. You can take a magazine page. They make kind of neat hearts. So to start with, to make our square, we've got our rectangular paper, and we're going to take the shorter side and line it up with this side over here. So this whole thing, it has to be as straight as you can get it. So right along that line, like so. So I kind of use both hands so I could squish it flat as I fold it. So you can see this lines up with here. Alright, so we've got a triangle here. This lines up to here. So now we've got this long extra fold, and we're just going to cut that off with a pair of scissors. So with these, the straighter and the more even everything gets cut, the better. But as you are learning how to do that, it might be a little bit off, and that's okay. So practice, and everything gets easier and better. Alright, so I have my square. So I'm actually going to switch over this paper because this one's kind of shiny. So we'll use this nice flat red. It helps with demonstrating to have like two different colors. You know, one side is one color, one side is another color, which you find a lot with actual origami papers. But any paper is fine. So we're going to start by folding it in half, and we're going to make one corner go across to the other corner. And you can see that that's a little bit crooked right there, so I'm going to try to fix that a little bit. So this is kind of like a diagonal fold since I'm going from one point across to the other. Alright, and it divides it into two triangles. So now I'm going to turn it, and I've got this line here already. We're going to fold this up. So what we are doing right now is basically just making little guidelines for us to fold. We're not actually going to fold anything with those. So that shows us where everything is. So just to make sure that you guys can see really well, I'm just going to go along there with a pencil. You do not need to do that. I'm just doing it so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. A little crooked, but it's okay. Okay, alright, so you can see we've got like a big X. Each one goes to the corners. And I'll also, on the Google Classroom, I'll post a handout that goes with this. Sometimes it's easier to learn watching somebody do it, and then sometimes it's easier to learn when you are looking at a handout. So, we've got our pre-folds already done. So now, I'm going to fold this point down to this line. So sometimes it's easier to go down from the top like this. I find that I'm a better folder if I flip it around this way and I fold up. So I'm going to make this point touch where those two fold lines go across each other. So you're not folding it all the way down. This is going to be the top part of my heart. Alright, so sometimes it's better to fold, like using your fingernail or your thumbnail. Just kind of slide it across that, or you can just rub across it with your finger. Alright, so we got our first fold. Our second fold is going to go from the bottom, and it's going to come up and touch the very tip up here. We don't want it to stick out and over, because that will be kind of distracting and make our heart look a little bit weird. So it's going to line up with this line that's already on here, and then just touch the top. And then I'm going to make my nice little crease. So you can see it lines right up over there without going over. And if your first one looks really weird, that's okay. Normally the first time you do any kind of origami, it's not the tidiest, but it's alright. Okay, so now we're going to start making the rounded parts of our heart. And I'm going to take this little folded area here and line it up with a line here. So just so you can see it a little better, I'll put my little line down there. So this lines up with here, and it's going to stick out over the top. Fold it up here. And after this fold, you will see it start looking like a heart already. And I'll do the same thing. This one is going to line up right here. Like that. So it looks like a very geometric, very square heart at this point. So this is one of the spots where if you want it to lay really flat, you can put a little glue down there. So that helps it lay down really flat. So the next part, I flip it over so I can see it a little bit better. So this is the back side of my heart right now. So this part, you're just going to kind of look as you work to see what makes it look a little bit more like a heart than a very square, too rectangular heart. And I'm going to fold these little guys down just a little bit. And I'm going to make that little line line up with the other little line, like that. So you're not folding it down too far, just a little bit. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. And I want to try to make them look kind of even across the top. Alright, so now our heart looks kind of like this, and it's still really pointy over here. So I'm going to fold over a little bit on each of these sides. These are the little sides of the heart. And this is another spot where if you want to glue it, you can. So the really traditional origami, you don't use any glue because your folds are just so fantastic. But on this one, I think it's okay to use a little glue just to get it where we want. Alright, so now when we flip it over, we have a nice little heart. So these, you can use them for just about anything. You can turn your heart into like a little card if you wanted to. I think that like layering them makes it look really neat. Using different kinds of papers, you can kind of experiment with that. Here's my other one. You can make a whole bouquet out of hearts. So here's a pretty simple card that you can do. And so I just made them out of 2 different sizes. And you can put whatever you want on the inside. So once you've got your hearts, feel free, make as many as you want. Take them and turn them into something else. And like I said before, I love seeing your art, so feel free and show them to me. So thank you, and have a good heart making time. Bye.